Hello and welcome to another video on the JJ Think Tank. I hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about Poland again, but this time with regards to its national character and its history, its political history, and why, because of its geographical position, it has suffered a traumatic fate, really. When we look back at history over the past 100 years or so, we see that it was really a plaything of the major powers, but not just Poland, other nations next to Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, for example. But obviously I'm speaking from the Polish perspective because I am from Poland. My parents are from Poland. I was born in the UK, but my ethnicity is Polish and my blood is Polish in the main. And yes, how these traumatic events, all of these traumatic events in the past have created really a traumatic or traumatized nation, yes, in many respects. And the country is still dealing with this trauma, I believe, in some way. It's getting better. It's getting better, I think. But still, I believe it's something that we need to talk about. We need to address. Because if we do so, I think Poland will be able to avoid another war on its territory. And it could become a bridge, yes, between East and West. And here I believe China will play a very important role, because China is developing the One Belt, One Road strategy, also known as the Silk Road. And this strategy offers a brilliant chance for Poland to become a natural bridge between East and West, and therefore to stabilize its economy, to perhaps unite the various Slavic regions into one concrete whole. So by Slavic regions I'm thinking about Ukraine, parts of Ukraine and Belarus, and perhaps Kaliningrad, and Slovakia as well, but yeah, Slovakia and Czech Republic. And yes, a brilliant future could be on the cards for the Polish nation, I believe. But obviously it requires diplomacy, it requires some rational thinking, some rational action, and not this Polish romanticism, I believe, because this Polish romanticism has usually led the country down the wrong path. I think now it's time for the country to become more mature in its state building, and yes, become this natural bridge between East and West. And this is what Norman Davies wrote. So I've read a couple of books by Norman Davies about Poland. So Norman Davies was he is a British Polish historian now, because he's obtained Polish citizenship. And he talks about Polish history. He writes about Polish history, and he also noticed that Poland is a natural bridge between East and West. And here I included a funny meme from Poland Ball. So as we can see here Poland is in a neutral state. Here Poland gets angry, starts drinking, and then it starts to fight, yes, but with negative consequences. Here, as you can see, it's crying, yes, Poland is crying. And on either side here we've got Germany and Russia, yes. So of course this is this is a conundrum for Poland, because on the one hand it wants to become this natural bridge between East and West, but then when we think from another perspective, it's possible that Poland might become dominated by Germany and Russia, yes, because they often collude with each other to divide the region, yes, the Central and Eastern European region. So here I'm talking about Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, parts of Ukraine, yes, well, Ukraine, parts of Belarus. So it's really here it's really important for diplomacy to take place and for an intricate state building process to take place in Poland. And luckily, because history always changes, that there is some similarity, yes, between the current period and history, but there's always a slight change, yes. And now I believe the change is the role of China. So China is this new actor, and because China has returned to the fore, it's possible that it will be able to manage the conflict, yes, between, for example, Poland, Russia, and Germany, yes. Obviously, we need to take into account the Anglo-Saxon element, the American element, and Poland has to negotiate hard, yes, because we don't want to be used again in another war ultimately, because I don't think it's in our interest. We want peace to take place in our region finally, so that our citizens can become wealthier for a change, yes, because Poland in general was a poor country in the past. Now it's developing. There is some progress, but I still think there is room for improvement. So now I'd like to read some sections from my article and some philosophical musings that I had. So I wrote here, because of its geographical position, Poland has often lost and regained its sovereignty, being rejuvenated and revivified, much like Jesus. So there is some link there, right? Because Jesus, obviously, he died and then he rose from the dead, and Poland is similar in that way. It still exists after 1,000 years, mainly through its faith, really. Without its faith in Jesus and Christianity, I don't think Poland would have survived until this day. So yes, and this repeated process, I guess, it causes some historical trauma. But with the postmodern world, we are in this strange position. The spread of information is both a good thing and a bad thing, because because on the one hand it can cause a lot of chaos in the mind, and you can become a bit confused. But then if you're able to process information correctly, then you are able to come to a correct judgment, yes? So this is what I wrote. So through the lens of dialectics, we can see Poland's future in two ways: either a bridge between East and West, I apologize, or a battering ram to be used against Russia. And this was this took place quite often in the past. Poland, the Polish people were part of various uprisings against the Russian Empire, and most of these uprisings were irrational, illogical. When we look back in hindsight, we perform a historical analysis, we see that these uprisings were not positive, really, for the nation, for the state, for the Polish state. Therefore, I am of the view that Poland should accommodate itself to Russia in some way. Yes, it should develop its diplomatic ties. It should develop its trade with Russia, and through this be a part of the One Belt, One Road strategy of China, yes? So culturally speaking, Poland has played a subservient role in recent history due to its recent partitions. Yet, because of this previous slave-like position, it has acquired a unique lens into the workings and mentalities of the various European peoples. As we know, and using the ideas of Hegel, the slave often becomes the master with the passage of time. And this is my thought, my philosophical thought about Poland. I applied Hegel to the Polish question, and I think this is true. This right now, Poland is in a unique chance to finally become a major player, a major power, yes, in the emerging multipolar world. And I am in favor of the multipolar world. I think the multipolar world, it brings more freedom and sovereignty to all the major nations, because I think globalization now has reached its course, has reached the end of its time, and the best thing for humanity now would be a multipolar arrangement, yes. And I believe this will probably take place. But we will see, yes, the next few years, the next 5 to 10 years will reveal what will happen. So then I wrote in my article about the role of the Slavs, yes. So up until now, the Slavs have never really been unified. So when we look back at history, we see wars between Poland and Ukraine, wars between Russia and Poland, wars between Russia and Ukraine. Well, a recent war, yes, between Russia and Ukraine. Yes, so this is obviously not a good thing, obviously, because you don't see, for example, well, generally you don't see, for example, Anglo-Saxons or Anglos fighting against each other, right? For example, Canada, America, Australia, England, you don't see them fighting against each other, right? They have been able to create a functioning whole. But the Slavs, up until now, haven't, yes? But now I think it's possible that they will be able to finally unite. And yes, so in this postmodern kind of ambivalence, because we are in postmodernity, this is obvious. The thought of postmodernism is actually useful in interpreting the current state of reality, because reality now it's quite chaotic. It's hard to tell what is truth and what is fiction. But in this postmodern ambivalence, I believe there is this ambiguity and unstructured and undefined logos, yes, of the Slavic people. And because it's so unstructured and undefined, this becomes a positive force, yes, because why do I say because? Because it means that something new can arise, yes, in this region, and it actually affects and helps other regions as well, because ultimately we want trade to flow everywhere, right? We want interaction between major economies to take place, because when there are interruptions, everyone suffers, right? Now we can see this, for example, with diesel. So the war in Iran is causing a rise in diesel prices, and this affects everyone, right? Every average citizen in the world is affected by this change, yes, in prices. And so this is kind of why I included this part to my article. I believe that this is true. Hegel actually wrote this. He wrote about the Slavs and said that their time in history has not yet come, but now it's possible that they have a role to play in, yes, creating this multipolar world, as I call it, and as others have called it, yes. Now the next part of my video will be about this strange inferiority complex. So perhaps if you're not Polish, this won't be relevant to you, or you won't really know what I'm talking about. But if you are Polish, then definitely you will have noticed this, that Poland people have this strange inferiority complex. Perhaps it's due to the partitions, and it causes this strange kind of relationship between Polish people. So what I've noticed is that Polish people they don't really trust each other sometimes. They are jealous of each other, they envy each other, and this is not a good thing, really. As a nation, as a people, we should unite. We should help each other. We should show love, and not be envious. Envy is not a good emotion. Jealousy is not a good emotion. It ultimately brings you down and everyone else down around you. Yes. So it's important to overcome this inferiority complex, really, this trauma, because whether we like to admit it or not, past events do affect us now, because trauma is generational, it's passed from generation to generation. But it's important to overcome your personal trauma and try to help everyone else, yes? So now, referring to this inferiority complex, I think, yes, it's due to the partitions and the fact that many Polish people, they made major discoveries, but obviously they represented other nations, yes? They were part of other nations. And I want to make another video about this, create a list of Polish people who made important discoveries in the world, but were kind of overlooked. Their Polish identity was overlooked because yes, they were part of, for example, the Russian Empire or the Austrian Empire, or now I guess a lot of Polish people obviously in the Anglosphere. One example is Steve Wozniak, for example. So he pretty much invented the iMac, the Mac, the Apple, obviously alongside Steve Jobs, but Steve Wozniak, he played an important role in this. There are many other examples, but this is for another video. And yes, I think this is part of the inferiority complex. And it's unnecessary, really. Obviously, on the one hand, Polish people, they shouldn't be arrogant and proud, because this is off-putting, yes? But we shouldn't also be feel inferior, yes? Feel that we're worse than others. Just a natural confidence should appear in the Polish diaspora and the Polish people, yes? And I would say, I've noticed this, so the general cultural discourse in the West, it does negate, I think, the masterful impact of the Slavs, and obviously some Polish people, but the Slavs in general, on the development of humanity. I do feel this. So when we think of, for example, Nikola Tesla, he made major discoveries that revolutionized our world. Really did revolutionize our world. Who else? Mendeleev, the periodic table, and obviously we have others. Chopin, Frederick Chopin, the pianist. He was French, but his music is really Polish. You can feel the Polish vibes there, and there's obviously many others, but it's something that I've noticed, yes, and I think it's important to also highlight the positive role that the Slavs have played in human history. Yes. So, my dear Polish diaspora and the people of Poland, let us create a new strong nation that will link the East and the West into one congruent whole. This can be only done by working through our collective trauma and recognizing our greatness, fighting lies with the truth. And yes, this is what I feel, really. We shouldn't be arrogant also at the same time, because this arrogance can lead to stupidity and another unnecessary war possibly with Russia. So we need to avoid this. But yes, we need to be optimistic. We need to think positively. We are on the right track, I would say, overall. There are major problems, especially when it comes to the demographic crisis. So birth rates are falling in Poland. This is not a good thing. Hopefully we can reverse this in some way. It may be difficult, yes. But still, I think as long as we avoid a war in the near future, I think everything will be okay for Poland. And it will survive, yes. It will survive, and like we have survived in the past, we will survive again. And after all, our nation is 1,000 years old, so it's not something irrelevant, yes? Our nation is not irrelevant. So yeah, I'd like to end my video with this quote by Gabor Mate, and he helped me a lot in my journey to overcome trauma. And here's what he said. If anybody should understand, or should be able to understand, what it's like to live under foreign occupation, what it's like to have your land taken away from you, the Polish people should be able to understand. So it's a brilliant quote by Gabor Mate, and he's a good man. He's a good person. He's spreading a lot of good energy around the world. He's helping to heal humanity, and it's a good thing. So yes, that's the end of my video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. It will help me grow the channel and spread more vital information. Also, if possible, consider supporting at buymeacoffee.com. So I will attach the link below in the description. And this will help me to create more videos for you. All the best, and take care.